Okay, so we need to reconvene first.
Yep.
Okay. If I could have everyone's attention, we will reconvene the, let's see, what's today, September 12th, 2022 meeting of the Delaware County Board of Commissioners. We recessed this morning after our regular session, and we're reconvening today for the hearing, or for the viewing of the Lawrence number 22 drainage improvement petition. And I will review. Do I need to do anything else, Jennifer?
I'm sorry?
Do I need to do anything else? We're open. We're ready to go. Okay.
You can just go ahead and read that.
All right. I'll introduce. I'm Jeff Benton, Vice President of the board this year. Our President Barb Lewis couldn't make it right at this session. To my left is fellow Commissioner Gary Merrill. Our clerks today are Jennifer Walraven and Sarah DeNova. And I will review what's going to occur today. I want to welcome everyone to the viewing for the consideration of the Lawrence number 22 watershed drainage improvement petition. We introduced ourselves. Chris is not here, but we've got folks from Southern Water who will be making the presentation. There is a sign-in sheet circulating the room. We ask that you please sign the sheet to indicate your attendance. Today's viewing of the proposed improvement area is taking place at the office of the Board of Delaware County Commissioners with the use of video technology. We found this was introduced a couple of years ago. We found this to be much more informative, much easier to see the entire area. And so we really appreciated being able to use video technology in compliance with the state laws. A video will be available to gain an overview of the project limits and specific areas. No testimony or decisions are made here at the viewing. This is a way for the board to become familiar with the area. So again, that's very important. The testimony will be allowed at the first hearing, and if there's a second hearing, that's when you would be allowed to express your support for or opposition to the petition. But today, all we're interested in is viewing the area, getting an understanding of the issue. The first hearing on the petition is scheduled for Monday, December 5th, 2022 at 10 a.m. At the hearing, we'll then hear a report from the engineer's office on the petition, and that is also the time for landowner testimony, again, for or against the petition. I will now turn the proceeding over to Brett Baker or Dan. Brett, you can run it with the Soil and Water Conservation District. And thanks everyone for coming here. Brett.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Brett Bacon, Delaware Soil and Water Conservation District. We have three separate videos. Just the nature of the project was made it prohibitive to fly this all in one flight. So I'm going to show the video one time through and point out some things, maybe pause and show, and then we'll just run it back through a second time just to give a full view of the project. The first video will be the black and yellow line, video number 1. And this would be, I guess, what I would refer to as the main leg of the project or branch of the project. So this is starting at the bottom end, downstream end, right at the number 58 on your map there, and flying upstream. So this is existing open channel. Portion of this channel is on drainage maintenance currently, but it does not extend upstream to the many of the signers of the petition. We've included this section just because we don't know that channel was evaluated with respect to the existing petition request. So we would do that if the board approves at the first hearing. This is still flying through the farm field, parcel 96 as it's labeled on your map. It's coming to the tree line between 96 and 20. And you can see here follow my cursor. I believe that's the path of the subsurface drain tile. Not sure if the tile follows the surface drainage pattern or not through here. Crossing over the driveways for 57 and 130. And now on to parcel number 56. And then on to 17. You can see right here what appears to be a couple large blowouts in the subsurface drain tile. Oops, didn't mean to do that. This is State Route 203. We're going to cross here and then fairly quickly turn to the south, now flying north to south. Again, right here, what looks to be some more blowouts in the subsurface drain. Now going on to parcel number 108, continuing to the south. Okay. Would you like me to run through it again, or one time enough?
One time's enough for me, Gary, you good?
It's a beautiful country.
Yeah.
It is beautiful.
I assume there's a water issue somewhere. Obviously, drone was done at a time when it was dry.
Yeah,
so-
yeah. We did this about a month ago, so not necessarily at I think the time. I think that the second video I'll show, you can see some pretty clear evidence of at least areas that were ponded in the watershed. So if I can play this one again, or we can move on to the second one if you'd like.
Ready to go to the second one?
I'm good with the
Okay.
first viewing.
Okay.
You are going to be able to show us some of the issues in the second.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so this will be the black and white line. We are starting up on parcel 73, so this one is flying north to south. And this would be a lateral, or we would refer to this as a lateral. You can see these areas here, over in here. These are all drowned out areas of the crop field where they've had crop loss in the field because of, I'm going to assume, ponded water, not good surface drainage in the watershed, and probably issues with the subsurface drain tile not being functional or as operating as efficiently as you'd like it to. Again, some more here. All these areas would be indicators of drainage issues causing the crop loss.
All three of the videos were done about a month ago?
Yes, all three done on the same day.
Wow, look at that. That's all crop loss?
Yes.
This is different perspective than the first video.
Yeah. I think the first video that we looked at, aside from the first field, is more of a rural residential drainage issue, and just not visible because of the time of year. I'm fairly confident that some of the landowners will probably present you evidence or bring videos that show it at I'll say a wetter time. This section of the watershed is probably the more agricultural section, and like I said, there's pretty clear evidence of crop loss through these fields. I'm coming up on, this is the border between 121 and 11. You can see this kind of right here is what I believe to be the drainage path. And you can even see the different colors here are pretty indicative of maybe not, obviously crops that have been lost, but certainly under a little bit of a duress there. Coming up on 18 here shortly, I think. Yeah, this is, lost my place. Sorry, I think this is 91. No, this is 18. This is Lawrence Road coming across. And then it angles through the corner of this field and in junctions with the main channel. Any questions on that flight?
That video went from north to south, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Are we north of the village of Radnor here, Brad?
You are south of the village of Radnor. All right, the third video will be the blue or purple line there. All right, and this one will be starting at the upstream end at parcel 87 and 125, and 123. It'll travel along the road and then turn to the south, and then coming down to junction with the second video flight. And this one's also going to be mostly residential. Obviously through a wooded area here. Again, State Route 203. And we're going through parcel 91. And you can see the drainage path is fairly obvious here. And then you'll also note on the overall watershed map, there's a cluster of blue parcels, the blue parcels being those that signed the petition, 82, 83, 50, and 128. That would be another, I'll say, anticipated lateral. Nature of that's identical to what you just saw, so we didn't fly that.
So there, on this video, Brett, you've got some kind of brownish green stripes.
Whereabouts?
Is that also, just right there? Is that also,
Uh,
are those crops gone? or-
I'm not sure what was in that field. That may very well be a wheat field that had been cut. I can't tell for certain. It doesn't look like beans to me, but
No, it doesn't.
no, I don't think that is crop loss.
Okay. Okay, I didn't have any other questions, that's related to the video. How big a watershed is this one of the bigger ones?
Dan, do you remember how big we were?
Off the top of my head, no. I've run too many here lately.
We'll definitely have that for you at the first hearing. Yeah,
But this is a fairly good size.
it's fairly sizable. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Brett or Dan?
Anything we need to add? Okay.
Okay. All right, I guess at this point, we would open it up for any of the people who are here who wanted to point out something about the property or the drainage or anything. Again, not testimony in favor of it or opposed to it. It's just pointing out something that you would like to have us be aware of. If you could, we'll ask you to come to the podium so everybody can hear on the microphone and identify yourself and which parcel you own.
My name is Curtis Conklin. I live on 2161 State Route 203. I'm sorry, I don't know my
Not sure
exact
which one it
parcel
is.
number.
Go to the other one. There you go.
Cal, Gallant, Lawrence. So I am parcel number 91.
Anyone, okay.
It's highlighted in blue for some reason on this. So we are the next to last property that the Herbert tile flows through. We are in a very low area there. We're in between Lawrence Road and Buttermilk Hill Road. So Buttermilk Hill is on a rise, Lawrence Road is on a rise, and we're at the bottom of that area there. There's a tile that comes under 203, moves water from the east side of 203 onto the west side of 203, which is where we live, flows through our property, and then goes over toward Lawrence Road. That Herbert tile does run from all the way up to, I think, Meredith Road, all the way through our property over to Lawrence Road, and then exits, as he pointed out in his video, into that drain, that swale. But what I wanted to talk about was in that second video, he didn't mention it, but right toward the end of that video, you saw a very long stretch of unmowed grass in that field just before you got to Lawrence Road. That is a long series of blowouts that exist in that Herbert tile today that have been that way for many years and have been neglected and have not been addressed. I personally had 3 blowouts in my property last year that we fixed. You could see raised clumps of grass in our lot just before that got into that field. So I just wanted to point out that that is a 15-inch ceramic tile. Ceramic's not the word I'm looking for. But anyway, it's certainly, very old, and it is experiencing problems. And there are problems that are going unaddressed because, as you well know, Soil and Water has no authority to make anybody fix anything, right? When we get heavy rains, we get large areas of standing water on our property that cover hundreds of feet out there, actually, 100 feet square, 200 feet square from one side to the other. So that tile is certainly very critical, and I think what's important to note in that video is that the exiting end of it is where a lot of problems exist today, where there are known blowouts, and so everybody that's upstream from that is being affected by that right now. That's all I wanted to point out.
Okay.
Ray, could you back up the video and show us that area?
I know exactly where he's talking.
This is,
It'd be helpful, I think.
this has got to be near the end of the third video or
Second.
in the second video? Because it looks like the third video terminates on your property, Curtis. or terminates just across your property.
There's two different maps that have different numbers.
Oh, they have different numbers?
Yes.
Oh, sorry about that.
Oops.
You're almost there.
Yeah.
So stop right there, if you would, back up just a hair. Oh, go forward just a little bit. So there are the 3 blowouts that we repaired on our property. You can see the tall weeds there.
Middle there.
Yeah, right. So in the middle of that field, you'll see, and one by that little tree row is the biggest one, but we repaired 3 blowouts there on our property. And then if you keep going across this next area where you see a lot of,
Right there.
right there, that is a very long stretch where the farmer that's farming that field knows that those blowouts are there, and so he just stays away from them. And so during that entire long stretch there, which is probably the length of a football
It
field.
looks like it's elevated, is it?
I'm sorry?
Does it look like it's elevated,
No,
or
it's
is it
not
just
elevated. It's
growth?
just uncut grass where he knows he has to stay away from that area. And that's probably the length of a football field there, where there's a series of blowouts in that tile in that field. And that is in just another 200 feet that way is Lawrence Road, and then it goes to the exit. So this is at the exiting end of that very long Herbert tile. So everybody upstream from that is being affected by these.
All right. Thank you. Okay, anybody else want to, Mr. Whiteside? I think you were one of the petition signers, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm the one that got the ball rolling. I'm Kurt Whiteside at 1980 Lawrence Road. I'm the one causing this,
You started this
whole forum.
process?
So,
Okay.
just when I bought the property some years ago, there's a blowout that he showed on our property. The blowout was as large as a pickup truck. And I thought, well, I come from the city, I'm gonna fill that sucker up. And I filled it up with gravel, and it's now a pickup truck size again. So sadly, it's obviously a significant situation on blowouts. And also there's elevation, you couldn't see the elevation changes here, but there's some elevation changes that are now man-made that we can't get good drainage, so,
Okay.
Which parcel are you?
Yeah, which number are you, Kurt?
I don't know. 1980. On the corner of Lawrence Road and 203 is my property.
Right map and
Lawrence Road
have
and
different numbers.
The one with the pond in the back with the fountain.
All right, that was the one we sent out with the petition. The other
Why
one
not?
This one,
sent you,
you sent 2 maps today.
yeah,
You're probably 17.
yeah, but this isn't.
Yeah, 17 is mine.
17.
So this is
17.
the one
Which
that-
one?
They have both. They
Thank
make
you,
big
Okay,
copies
sure.
of both.
Thank
I
you.
didn't realize they had different maps. Okay.
Mark Taylor, 2430, State Route 203. I signed the petition, and it looks like on the map that you guys have been referencing, it's parcels 82, 83, 50, and 128 in the blue.
Can I just interject real quick?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt you. Commissioners, we sent a map out with the letters. The numbers on that map, the original map, don't correspond to what I produced today.
Okay.
So when
That's
we're
why there's some
referencing,
confusion.
it's just the ID numbers auto-populate, so every time I recut a parcel layer, it does the numbers. So I apologize for that. But when we're referencing numbers, reference them on the one that has the blue shaded for the petition signers. So
Okay.
just for clarity,
Are
sorry.
you own all 4 of those parcels?
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, they're in my wife's name, but neither here nor there, I guess.
Good.
About 3 years ago, I worked with ODOT to get these areas all drain underneath 203. I worked with ODOT to have 2 24-inch tile installed under 203 to get most of this drained. I then worked with my neighbor across the street, which I believe is parcel 10 on your map, and put in some 18-inch tiles all at my expense in order to get it into this field. Unfortunately, what it really does is feed Mr. Conklin. I got 60 acres of water coming off of my property now, going to him. There's some that doesn't quite drain off of my property that I'd like to have profiled a little bit, but I can get most of mine off surface. There is a Herbert tile, I think it's called 21, that's in that same area. That's probably it's number 8 on the other map. That is a branch that needs to be probably investigated and repaired.
Okay.
Okay.
Mr. May I make a comment? Just for future reference, our attorney makes it really clear you have to be a property owner our attorney representing property owners, so you may want your wife here to testify
Okay,
for the meeting. I didn't want you to come and not be aware of that, so.
okay, no, I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
that's a good point,
Thank you.
because right now, we're not doing testimony. If we go, well, we'll go to the first hearing, but at that first hearing, you will be sworn in, and you have to be an owner or an attorney representing the owner to testify.
Appreciate it.
So,
Thank you.
okay, thank you. Good point to make sure everyone knows that. Okay. Again, no decisions, no testimony today. You know, again, the videos are very helpful, so thank you, Brett. Thank you, Dan. Other Brett,
Anyone else?
tall Brett. Yeah, Kurt, you got another thing?
And one more time, Curtis brought up a point that was not on that screen. There was a guy that lived next to parcel 17, which is my property, that had tried to build a pond. And that was the beginning of the issues, from what we understand, on our little Lawrence Ditch side, because he dug into the underground sewer. So there is a pond there now. It's pretty deep. It's some 3 or 4 feet deep. He tried to fill it in. There's still mounds around where he tried to do, but that didn't show on Brett's. And I do show that in my video, which we can see in December, but that is a pretty big component to this particular portion of the ground, so.
Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to just point out in the video? Yes. Oh, I didn't see you there, Claire.
I'm Claire Jolliffe, and we own the property at 203 across from Whitesides, and also where is this the right map now? 54,
Number 54?
28, it's like 150 acres there.
Okay.
And then the watershed that runs through Lawrence Road, that runs through, it's owned by my mother, but she's 87 years old, so I usually handle her things. So anyways, all that they're talking about, every time it does rain, it's backing up on the other side of 203, like where Whitesides are, and it floods the fields that Harsh has been farming for almost 40 years now. And it just continues to get worse. Back, I don't know how many years it's been. I know there's a lot of field tile that my dad had put in the east side of 203, and it's just not draining anywhere. And so when it rains, Whitesides, the guy that tried to build the pond, all that is running into our next property on Lawrence Road, into that watershed. There's also a field there that has a blowout that Harshes it's just continuing to get worse and worse for Harshes to farm our land because all of these blowouts. And every time somebody builds another house, we've got more water draining on the property. So that's a whole nother issue, but you've got a lot of water going on there and nowhere for it to go. Okay. So also the drain that comes through your property, or out by Almeyer, that runs clear up from Laners. And at one point, Sean Laner tracked all those blowouts from Laners clear down to the Lawrence Road. And the ones that they said they just farm around, that's that same blowout. So Sean had it going a few years ago just because Laners was flooding. So all these things, when it rains, it's not just like Kurt's yard, it's everybody else around it. So there's a lot going on there. Okay. And every time somebody builds a house or cuts a line or the old line blows out, it's just been going on for years, and now something needs to be done. So.
Okay. Other comments? Again, not doing testimony, not doing testimony in favor or opposed, just pointing out things about the watershed. Okay. Commissioner Merrill, anything else? Jennifer, anything else we need to do?
Good.
Brett or Dan or other Brett? Okay. All right. With no further business coming before this viewing, the viewing is over and the session is ended. We can just end the session, right?
We're adjourned, yes.